Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So, update 26 for Fallout 76 is just around the corner. It's just a week away, and so far we've gone over most of the big features coming with this update, but there are a number of small things that I thought bear looking at, as they've got some brilliant quality of life updates and will make quite an impact, I think, to the game going forward. So, let's take a look at those today. Okay, so we've already gone over all of the big stuff in previous videos, and I'm sure Bethesda will go over a bit more probably on Thursday. So I'll link some of those up in the corner if you do want to refresh your mind on the big updates coming with the new update to 76, locked and loaded. But as for the smaller stuff, there's a number of really cool things in here. So, first up is aim assist, and a little surprised that this wasn't in the game already, but it is coming with update 26. Obviously, those of you using controllers, be that on console or on PC as well, as it'll be available on both, will get a little bit of extra help should you choose to turn the setting on when it comes to snapping the crosshairs onto any enemies in free aiming particularly. Obviously, it won't have much impact on that, but that should make life a little bit easier. It's probably going to be worth double-checking, irrespective of whether or not you use a controller, as to whether or not this is switched on after the patch. I don't currently know if it will be switched on by default or not, and if you don't want it, then you may want to make sure that is not the case, or if you do, you may want to make sure it has gone on, so worth double-checking that. A couple extra points. Obviously, this will not function in PvP. If you are aiming at another player, you're going to have to do that all yourself. They're not going to include it for that, which makes sense. Aim assist in PvP situations is not really a good thing, so definitely the right move from Bethesda there. It's also interesting that the scale of the effect with aim assist is also going to vary depending on the weapon you're using. Apparently, if you're using pistols, you get a more pronounced snap onto the target than if you're using something a bit further down the scale, like, say, shotguns or possibly miniguns or something to that effect. So, something to bear in mind. Hopefully it'll make the aim assist feel a lot more natural and be sort of tailored to whatever equipment you happen to be using, so that should be quite cool as well. So, up next is a change that is coming to daily ops, and obviously they're overhauling it quite significantly and we're getting new ops anyway, but one of the little things that they're adding at the end of daily ops, which I have mentioned in the past, but I think it bears mentioning again, is that as of completion of the op, you will no longer need to hunt down any remaining enemies or make sure they don't shoot you in the back while you're checking out your rewards at the end of that, as they will all spontaneously explode at the end. It's not a damaging type explosion, it's just a, oh look, they all went pop type explosion. But it basically means you're not going to have them sneaking up while you're checking out your rewards, or you won't need to hunt them down or get attacked by them whilst you're chasing down any ammo drops or anything like that you might have left behind in the op. So, just a little thing, but it'll be nice. It applies to both the existing daily ops, the uplink ones, and to the new decryption game mode as well. So, definitely a nice little feature there. Once the thing is done, the job is done. So, no mop-up needed at the end. So, not a massive change, I think, there, but it'll be a nice little sort of round out to the daily ops. Okay, so map screen updates. So this is something that's happened a few times to 76 across the lifespan of the game. There have been a number of updates to the map screen in particular, and this update brings a couple more as well. Obviously, we've got camp slots coming, which will allow us to have multiple camps with one active at a time in the game, but there will be a new drop-down menu in the top left corner of the map screen that will allow you to swap between your different camps, choose which slots you're going to build in, it'll allow you to activate and deactivate them, and control things like whether or not the camp appears on the map at the push of a button, which is cool, rather than just defining it by whether or not your vendors are powered. So the other thing they're changing with the world map is the world activity tracker that is in the bottom left corner. That was added a while back with the update in September, but so far has only marked off the daily ops. Obviously that will be continuing, but they're adding public events to this list as well with this update, so you'll be able to find those events that pop up every so often that have the exclamation mark in the middle of them, the bigger ones. And it'll be particularly handy if you are grinding out the gold bullion, you're chasing down those treasury notes to get whatever bits and pieces you want from either the Secret Service in the vault or from the Raiders and the Settlers as well. So should make life a lot easier for those chasing that grind. I know I'm looking forward to that little feature. It's definitely been an unused option on the map, that one, so far, or underused rather. So looking forward to seeing that get used a little bit more predominantly and basically being a lot more practical. It should also mean that you've got a much better chance of having players drop into events so you're not running them solo if you have to want that. So always a good thing as well. So up next is a fix that has been long awaited and long requested, and I think will be very welcome, particularly in light of daily ops and the like, and that is some tweaks and adjustments to the melee combat system. So in short, it's just getting tuned up, which is a rather vague statement, but basically what it means is the hit reg is going to be significantly improved. Your hits should be registered on the enemy a lot more often, and their hits should be registered, hopefully, with more accuracy. I.e. that if they outright miss, it shouldn't look so much like they've missed and you take damage anyway. It should be a miss is a miss, and if they hit, you'll know about it. So, basic little changes, but something that definitely needed tightening up, particularly in light of the resilient enemies in daily ops, which can be a total pain in the neck sometimes. So, trying to spam that weapon bash just to finish those off and have it not register is extremely frustrating. So, following update 26 next week, then that should be a thing of the past and definitely most welcome. And also most welcome, I'm sure, to those who are running melee builds anyway, as having those hits connect a bit more reliably and a bit more predictably will be very welcome, I am quite sure. So, along with all the other camp changes, we also have a couple of updates coming to vending machines and display cases. Obviously, now we're going to have multiple camps. This does affect things like that, particularly allocated things. So, you've obviously got the same stash that you always had, and that's shared across both camps. You will also find your vending machines share across both camps, as do things like refrigerators and fermenters and things like that. Display cases, on the other hand, will not be shared across camps, and those will be unique to each one, so that you can have unique displays for whichever camp you're building. So if you've got two completely different styles, different sorts of items on display might be called for, might be a bit more suitable for the style of build you're going for, so you'll be able to do that, as well as only having to update your vending machines on the one occasion. And then like that will also mean that if you decide to move one of your camps, it won't reset all your vendors and you won't have to reallocate all your items for sale. It should remember them, which would be a most welcome bonus, I think. Definitely something I'm looking forward to seeing more of. So one of the other changes that comes along with this to the vending machines that is really, really cool as well is that we will no longer need to have 4 vending machines in a camp in order to get the maximum number of slots, 120. A single vending machine will now do the job. You can just put the one down and it will access the full 120 range of slots and take up a lot less space if that is appropriate for your camp. So it might be worth thinking about whether or not you actually do want to go for just the one vendor though, because if you get quite a few people visiting at once, you might find they have to queue up for the vendors if there's only one. Obviously, they'll still only be activatable by one player at a time, so having a couple still has its advantages, but for those builds that are a bit smaller or a bit more compact, you won't need to use up so much space on your vendors to make the most of that, which is very, very cool. And whilst we're on the subject of vending machines and displays, those will also be functional in shelters now as well. And that goes for the mannequins that will be appearing in the new season as well. So very, very cool update there for those who want to focus on shelter type camps. You can now vend directly from those and have displays in there as well, which is a long requested feature, something we've wanted since shelters first emerged into the game at the end of last year. So really good to see Bethesda pulling that one off. Power armor stations that have been delayed overall anyway currently aren't working in shelters either, so that might be an exception on down the line when those drop, or hopefully they'll get it fixed by the time they actually put it live, but we'll see. So something to bear in mind, but another nice little change that we're looking forward to there. And last but not least, possibly the ultimate quality of life change outside of the big stuff, and that is crafting sliders. So I'm sure you know what it's like when you go to craft ammo or chems or food or whatever. Head up there and you have to manually craft each thing either out one at a time or in batches if you're crafting ammo, things like that. And it requires a lot of button presses, so this crafting slider will eliminate the need for that. As long as you have the resources, you'll just be able to drag that bar all the way across and craft either all that you can or a selection of, depending on what you prefer. So one of the other big questions about the crafting sliders is whether or not Super Duper will work properly, and it certainly looks like it does. It will vary based on what you're crafting in bulk, but if you're crafting something that works in a one item at a time sort of way, say food items, and you craft 10, you should get 10 opportunities for Super Duper to possibly tick. Obviously depending on the usual RNG there. If you're crafting something in bulk, like say ammunition that maybe comes in groups of 50 for example, then every group of 50, you would get one opportunity for Super Duper to tick. Much the same as if you weren't using the crafting sliders, you're just doing it the old-fashioned way. It'll basically work out to much the same, which is cool, so always nice to see. So, there we have it. 6 features coming to Fallout 76 with a new update next week that I think, despite the appearance of being quite small, will have quite a large impact on the game and particularly the quality of life going forward. I think within a few weeks we'll be wondering how we ever lived without some of these features, so I'm definitely looking forward to these. Alongside, of course, all the big stuff as well, which, as I said, I had linked on cards in the top right corner if you do want to check those previous videos out. But for now, I will say thank you very much for watching. I do hope you found this useful and informative. If you did, please do consider dropping subs and likes for me. It's always very, very much appreciated. Social media links, the merch store, and channel memberships are available down below the video as well if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Massive thank you to everyone who's done that, as it helps out a huge, huge amount. So thank you very much. And if you get a chance, do join us for the live streams as well. We're having a lot of fun playing a Remnant from the Ashes and getting absolutely beasted in that Gun Souls type game. It's a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to jumping into Fallout 76 and pushing on with a new season as of next week, as well as some other cool stuff on Fallout 76 streams as well, I hope, coming up. So do watch this space. Lots to look forward to. For now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.